I don't know. I fucking split.
Why'd you split?
I don't know. I had like a foot pedal and I just like hit it. God damn it! I'm an idiot.
Oh, that's good.
What's good, man? It's your boy Juicy J, man. Shout out to Virtual Homework Podcast.
Hey, what's up, everyone? This is the Virtual Homework Podcast. What?
Welcome.
Little too energetic right now. I gotta tone it down. I don't really know how. All right. Well,
I have no energy, so I mean, we'll cancel each other out. We're like the yin and yang.
You're not energized after watching a new American classic in cinema?
Dude, that fucking movie.
Yeah, interesting movie. Actually,
No, stop for a second. What the fuck did you make me watch before this?
Well, I was gonna say let's switch it up and actually. So we're doing this video game and movie thing, and we've done video game first when we have done movies. Let's talk about the movie first this time, and
yeah.
I think that kind of makes sense because yeah, I made you watch An American Pickle, which is the new movie. It came out like a week ago with Seth Rogen.
I don't know anything about movies, so you're just like, hey, watch this Pickle movie. After I sent a Pickle Rick meme, like
turned himself into a pickle is the funniest shit I've ever seen. But the main reason why we're going to talk about this first is because there was a little bit of an oopsie in the scheduling of our podcast here. We were basically going to record, and then what did you say to me, Dana?
Oh fuck, I forgot to watch the movie.
Yeah, so we're recording deep in the night, Gunther style, and we're gonna talk a little bit about American Pickle while it's in Dana's head here. It's fresh.
It is definitely in my head. Like, this movie was... I enjoyed it. It was fucking, like, random as shit, though.
It is probably one of the stupidest concepts I've ever heard for a movie.
Yeah.
And, like, it's also
absurd.
implemented pretty stupidly. Before we get into the actual plot of the movie and really what this is about, first of all, I know this is a new movie, so if you are not interested in getting spoiled, we do have timestamps on all our videos. We'll have a timestamp so you could skip the movie discussion if you want to get into the game. But An American Pickle is about a guy from the early 1900s who basically comes to America with his wife, and during an accident at a pickle factory, accidentally brines himself for 100 years and wakes up in modern day to his one living relative, his great-great-grandson.
Who's, of course, Seth Rogen.
Yeah. Seth Rogen is the person who gets pickled, and he's the person who plays his great-grandson. So
he has a horrible, like, Eastern European accent the entire movie.
There is pretty much a flawless track record of movies where the person plays multiple characters. We're talking Norbit, probably one of the best movies of all time, where Eddie Murphy played 4 people. An American Pickle is...
Doesn't he play, like, 4 people in every movie? Like, he was every character in, like, Dr. Dolittle or, like... the Clanks or whatever the fuck. Like, every movie he's ever been in, he's
Has
every person.
Dr. Dolittle aged well? Honestly, I have no idea.
Probably not. No.
I have no plans on seeing Dr. Dolittle.
That's the movie next week.
I mean, you get to choose a movie next week.
No, we're not.
But
sorry, I completely sidetracked.
I mean, I'm the one talking about Norbit. But okay, let's talk about the movie here. So I guess before we let's talk about the movie. But before we talk about the movie, I love that I'm doing this here. What do you think about the movie?
We're sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. Okay, so I'm a huge fan of, like, stupid as fuck movies. This was a stupid as fuck movie, and I was laughing at points. It was entertaining.
So there's obviously a comedic element. This is a Seth Rogen movie, but it's definitely more dramedy than some of them. It's not like Pineapple Express. This is like there's some like touching moments in this movie. I thought
and I hate that shit. Yeah, to be honest.
Yeah, I thought this would work better.
I'm not a fan of like phoned in. Like it makes me like uncomfortable when there's like the phoned in like touchy-feely, like, oh no, like my family died or type shit.
I mean when you're going 100 years in the future because of pickle brine, some of your family dies.
Yeah, dude.
I will say I thought it was relatively enjoyable as a dramedy. I think the comedic aspects are where this movie shines. There were some scenes where I actually was laughing out loud, and I have them listed here when we get to them. But I would rate this a solid. I don't regret it out of 10. Like I wouldn't say it's an amazing movie by any means, but
no, but it's like I'm not unhappy I saw it. Like I'm glad you're like, Dana, watch this stupid ass movie. Like it made my night better.
It's better than Norbit. We'll say that much.
We can at least say it's better than Norbit.
All right. Well, to kind of go through the plot here, and this is where it gets really spoiler heavy, so we'll have a section to skip. But
Warning.
you have this guy named Herschel, and he basically talks about his life in the 1900s. He meets a girl named Sarah, and there are two struggling Jewish laborers. This movie is actually heavily Jewish, and that's not an issue. I'm literally of Jewish origin, so I actually got a lot of this stuff. But I'm actually, so I wonder if it was almost too Jewish for people who are not like from a Jewish background. There's like a lot of Judaism references, and it's not like, oh, Judaism bad. It's just like I don't really get what's happening right now. Did you have any experience with that?
I mean, it's just like general,
Religious, basically.
Stereotypes and type shit. They're making, Polish people jokes and stuff like that.
Yeah, so they're struggling Jewish laborers. They're very poor. They fall in love and they get married, but then the Cossacks, which I guess is what they called Russians back in like 1919, rampaged their village, killed everyone except for them. I wonder why they were spared. But basically, they decide that they have to move to America. They have nothing in the fictional country of Schlortz or something like that. I don't
Schlartz or some
yeah,
shit.
I don't get why they had to like make up a country. Like they could have just said like
copyright.
Russia is copyrighted.
Yeah, dude.
But yeah, it was kind of weird that they made up a country. I guess for comedic effect, it didn't really work very well. But anyway, they moved from Schlortz,
it's just like Slavcore
or whatever it's called, to America. He gets a job as a rat smasher. It reminded me of Always Sunny with Charlie with his rat stick. He's trying to smash rats at the pickle factory. He falls into a vat of pickles, and the factory's condemned. 100 years later, these kids with the drone find him there, and he is discovered and sent to like a science lab where I like that they basically had a reporter ask, how is this possible? It seems really not possible. And their explanation is, oh, the scientist explains that it's very possible and everyone's happy with it. So they lampooned the fact that their movie is so unbelievably stupid in concept.
They literally, they just string everything along. There's like, fuck it, we're not going to go deep into this. Just deal with it for the sake of it, kind of thing. That's like a lot of this movie is just suspend your disbelief and just kind of be.
Oh yeah, 100%
in it.
This movie takes itself, like I mentioned, it's a dramedy. So like for the touching moments, it takes itself like a little too seriously. But then there's like completely opposite, like this is the stupidest scene I've ever seen in a movie, like doesn't take itself seriously at all. And I think that's just Seth Rogen, honestly. Seth Rogen has a certain brand of comedy.
Oh, yeah.
I don't. Seth Rogen's also really polarizing. Do you like Seth Rogen? I know a lot of people that actually hate him.
I could take it or leave
Okay,
him,
so what I say is polarizing.
I just my problem is I feel like he's in a lot of like 5 out of 10 movies.
Okay, I like that I said he's a very polarizing figure, and it's like, oh, he's okay, aka the most milquetoast opinion on him.
Well, for example, like polarizing to me seems like either you like him or you hate him. Like polarizing, you're on either sides of the polar. I'm kind of in the middle. I'm like, I'm not like Larry the Cable Guy. I will, come at that. I'll come at him. But
not a fan of Larry.
Seth Rogen's all right. I fucking hate
him. I don't think I've ever actually seen, like, all I know is Get Her Done. I don't know if I've ever actually seen.
Dude, it's not funny. He's like, get her done, and these fucking stupid people are like, ha ha ha. That's relatable.
All right, writing down Larry the Cable Guy movies for movie choices here.
I'm sorry, but yeah, the movie is pretty easy to sum up. Literally, he comes to the modern era and he tries to live his life.
Yeah, he basically, like, he initially thought he had no one. He's basically told that his wife is dead. Obviously, like, there's like a funny scene. It's like, are you sure she wasn't also brined in pickle? I was like, yeah, we made sure that she was also not brined.
We're pretty sure, and he punches him in the face.
Yeah. But yeah, they discover that he has a great grandson, his only living relative, who is a app developer that lives in Brooklyn. Both his parents died in a car crash, who gave him a grant to make his own app. So he's basically just living as a complete fuckboy hipster in New York.
Yeah, that's literally everyone who interacts with this movie is a fuckboy hipster.
Yeah, this movie is like weirdly anti-hipster. I mean, like, I don't care about hipsters really, but like I feel like half the jokes in this movie are lampooning on hipster culture, because apparently, like, him in the 1917 clothing or whatever it was looks like a lot of the hipsters there. They ask like, "Oh, is that vintage?" and stuff like that.
Yeah, he's like in a cemetery, looking at like BuzzFeed on his phone, and it's like, what do these cute pets say about your love life or some shit like that?
Oh, one more thing before we get off the point of him like going 100 years in the future. So there was like a time lapse, and like I thought it was so weird. I mean, it makes sense like historically, but like there was like a time lapse of basically the city getting built up, like from 1919 to when the movie came out, and like they had like the movie like show New York City getting bigger and bigger, and then like they had like the Twin Towers fall and then get rebuilt. And I'm like, why did they do 9/11 in this movie?
I didn't notice that. Are you kidding me?
You didn't notice that?
No.
No, it was like really obvious. I'm like, they didn't, I mean, like, I guess, but like, it seemed like a weird note that like someone had to like kind of program 9/11 in the movie. And
I mean, they're not going to deny it. Are you denying
I'm not
9/11?
denying it, but like, it made me feel a little uncomfortable. Maybe I'm not ready to face my, shit. All right, we really got off the rails there. I noticed it. I'm like, why did they do 9/11 in this movie? I have it as a point. But oh yeah, before we get off the point of him traveling 100 years in the future, there's basically the scene where he and his wife from the past ask like what they dream of, and his wife says she dreams to one day be able to afford her own gravestone because they're really poor, and like his thing is that he really wants to drink seltzer water because I guess that's not really a big thing in
It's like fancy.
in 1919. I thought that was awesome because I like seltzer. And like the first thing he does when he meets his great grandson,
We gotta have a seltzer cast where we just taste a bunch of seltzer.
Yeah, I know. You actually had a seltzer talking point for later. Honestly, we won't spoil it now. We'll spoil it or not. We'll talk about it in like 3 or 4 hours after we get done with the first scene from the Pickle movie.
We'll talk about this for an hour and then some stupid ass game.
Yeah, but okay. So he's back in the future, back to the future, really. And the first thing he does, he has a seltzer. His life is good. He then goes to the grave of his wife and sees that it's decrepit. Sees that they're putting up some like vodka sign, and he finds that to be Cossacks.
He's like Russian, so he's like the Cossacks who like destroyed his village. So he goes to attack the construction workers that are there, thinking that they are the people who destroyed his village 100 years ago, and they get arrested.
Yeah, so they get arrested, and basically this has massive impacts on the great-grandson because he's trying to make this app, which looks so fake. I don't know why they have apps on, like, iPads look so unbelievably fake in movies.
Every time they have, like, some sort of software or app or something in any form of media, it always looks fucking terrible and, like, phoned in and stuff like that.
I don't really get it because they could just, like, have a very basic app created for, like, just... like, it doesn't have to actually do what they say the app does.
Because the people that make it or have the idea for it don't know anything about app development or anything like that. So they're just like, oh, make it pop, and that's what they come with.
So, yeah, the app that Seth Rogen is creating, they're both Seth Rogen. The great-grandson is creating is, like, you basically scan products, and, like, it's very hipster, and it's like, oh, it says, like, the ethics score of the app. So he like goes into a venture capital meeting and like, yeah, we can't fund your app because you literally just got arrested for like assault, and that's not very ethical. So
yeah, so it like ruins his life. And the other guy otherwise said that it was like a really good idea.
Yeah, so this basically gets
fucks his life up.
This basically gets Seth Rogen, well, both Seth Rogens into a fight, basically saying like, oh, since you showed up, my life kind of sucks. And the great-grandpa, Seth Rogen, basically denounces the new Seth Rogen. I'm botching.
He says, you are not my family. I will become Pickle Master. And he's going to make a pickle empire to get back at him.
Yeah, and he does. He really does. The pickle montage when he's like initially creating the company is probably my favorite scene. He's doing some stupid ass shit. Like
he's like grabbing pickles out of like a garbage can, and like he's like, I find pickle, cucumber, and salt in garbage can behind Whole Foods.
Yeah, and there's like a scene. He's like pedaling his pickle
like
cart
jars
in the middle,
with like shit. In
yeah,
them,
like bird shit and like rainwater, and like he's pedaling his pickle cart in like the middle of New York City like roads, and it's like it got a laugh out of me.
The hipsters come out and they're just like, oh my god, it's so artisanal.
Yeah, it's local. So like because he like does well with the hipsters who like his accent and like his locally grown products. That is until the health inspector shuts them down on a tip from his great grandson. And this is where the movie I think starts to go downhill. Basically, I think the first half hour of this movie, first like half really, it's like it's good. It's like a fun concept that's funny. But then Seth Rogen's like modern character becomes the biggest bitch on the planet. He's so hateable.
Pretty much.
And
he's like, "Oh, my 100-year-old relative who got brined is doing well. I'm going to ruin him."
Yeah.
But it doesn't ruin him.
yeah, he gets him so he gets so jealous that like he's like, "Oh, I'll get to send the health inspector," and then he like gets an intern because he finds out what interns are that what didn't exist 100 years ago, and then like he has free workers that get his health up to par. Then he is like, "Oh, you got to get a Twitter," because like they had like this kind of reconciling, and then his racist views come out, and then the movie gets like weirdly political where his racist views get him like
he gets like alt-righted.
yeah, pretty much.
Where, like people like love it.
Yeah.
They're like, "Oh yeah, you're not afraid to say what you want to say. Yeah, down with women and shit like that." Like,
yeah, and the only reason why he then fails is because, again, new fuckboy Seth Rogen, it like gets him to admit that like, yeah, he's Jewish and he doesn't like Christianity. So extremely political tones, like half an hour past half this movie.
It's sign of the times, man.
Yeah,
it's very
Seth Rogen's making a statement with the Pickle movie.
Man.
Yeah.
And I mean that's like basically the movie.
Yeah.
Like, they do that, they reconcile, and then like that's the end. Like,
There's a few steps in between. First of all, this whole montage of like him getting in trouble for like all of his opinions, like it was national news that this guy like was pickle brined and like came out and he's like 100 years in the past. I feel like everyone forgets that, and like they hold him to his views like in like 2020, and I guess yeah, he's living in 2020. He has to assimilate to the times.
I just think like everything in this movie is not meant to be taken. Like I said earlier, you suspend your belief, just pretend it's
I'm gonna
happening,
poke
and...
so many holes in this goddamn plot.
Dude, it's literally Pickle movie. Dude got brined for 100
yeah,
years.
but they
like,
explained that. They said the scientists explained it well and everyone believed him. So
can we talk about that for a second? They're just like, all right, good luck. Like,
Yeah.
They just like let him go out the front door. It's like, yo, you let's go stay in your grand whatever's apartment.
I mean, maybe they would have
Like,
done something different if he didn't have any living relatives, but like they at least
like
had
let's
someone.
think about in 2020 if this actually happened. Do you think they would just let him go like that? Like I feel like they would like they probably wouldn't even tell the world. They probably like keep
yeah,
him, like,
they
in
would
an
they would
underground
like
facility.
just do experiments on him. He would not
Dude, there
he
could
would
be-
not live.
How many pickle men do you think are really there right now that they're not telling us about?
I think that everyone that has been brined for more than 20 minutes in a pickle jar is dead. There might be dead people floating in pickle barrels.
Yeah, how does he breathe? Like that doesn't make any sense.
What?
Like
Don't
when he comes
pick-
out, he's like there's like pristine pickles.
You were
and
the
he's,
one
like,
who
in
just
water.
said suspend your disbelief. We're not gonna like pick apart the pickle
Okay,
theory.
Yeah.
Pickle apart the theory. Ha.
I want to die.
Basically, after all of this like hate mob going towards the great grandfather, we see a reconciling of the two. He basically says, "I know you don't like me, but if you help me get into Canada," because through this they like also discovered that he wasn't like properly granted citizenship, so they want him deported. He's like, "Oh, if you help me sneak into Canada, I will never talk to you again." So they go on a trip to Canada. They actually reconcile to the point where younger Seth Rogen he's willing to admit to the grandpa Seth Rogen that I was the one who orchestrated all this bad stuff that happened to you because I was jealous. And I guess he probably thought that he would forgive him. No, instead he like beats the shit out of him and then pretends to be him. So one thing we didn't mention about this movie is that the only differing quality really, besides the terrible accent from the grandpa Seth Rogen, is that one has a beard, the grandpa one does, and fuckboy Seth Rogen has no beard and glasses. So Grandpa Seth Rogen shaves his beard because I guess like his backpack, the fuckboy Seth Rogen's backpack had a beard shaver. He shaves his beard, wears the glasses, and basically pretends he's fuckboy Seth Rogen. And the Canadian police deport fuckboy Seth Rogen, who they think is Grandpa Seth Rogen, to the U.S.
Can we talk about how stupid that trial was?
So
just like, look at his face. He doesn't have a beard. Well, then Charles Manson, if he had a beard, he wasn't the guy. Like,
yeah, the scene where they basically go to trial and like deport fuckboy Seth Rogen to Eastern Europe is one of the most terribly acted scenes I've ever seen in a movie. I get they were trying to be comedic.
I feel like a lot of it's intentional.
Yeah,
though.
I feel like it was intentional. Like they over exaggerated like a lot of the lawyerly traits, but like it just this. Oh my god, I thought they could have done a better job. But anyway, Seth Rogen from the future is now being deported to Eastern Europe to basically go where we started the movie at in 1919 or whatever, and he has no idea what's going on. He's scared and
It's like
lost.
Slavic as fuck. There's people in like Adidas like tracksuits like running like half dilapidated motorcycles around. Like, it's pretty funny.
Yeah, it is pretty funny, but like he has nowhere to go, so basically they point him to the synagogue, and like I feel like this entire movie is an allegory for Seth Rogen's legitimate like Jewish reawakening as his like he's entering his midlife. I don't want to say midlife crisis, but like he's what, like 40 something?
Probably.
Like, yeah, it's like he enters a synagogue, he like rediscovers religion and like gets like a sense of community based on these like Eastern European people, and like okay, this movie gets weirdly political and weirdly religious, but I get it. Judaism's pretty cool. I'm a fan. So Dana's like sitting here like uncomfortable, like I can't talk about this. I didn't grow up this way.
like I'm not allowed to have opinions.
But it really just ends in that Grandpa Seth Rogen feels bad, goes to Eastern Europe, and lets him switch back. And the movie ends. They're gonna start a pickle business where they sell pickles online. There is almost no resolution. It's like, okay, all this shit where you got me deported, I guess we're fine now. And it's like, we're gonna make a pickle business.
And then it just ends.
And that's the movie.
How I see this movie is, and I do kind of like that there were an era where people can do this. These probably guys just came together, like, yo, I got this dumbass movie idea for a movie. The budget on this thing was probably super low.
$20 million.
It was $20 million to make this?
This was supposed to be in theaters.
Really?
Yeah, it was supposed to be in theaters.
This movie was so shitty. What the fuck with $20 million? Give me $20 million.
I mean, you understand most of a movie's budget is like Seth Rogen.
Advertising?
No, Seth Rogen's like, pay me $10 million and I'll make you a movie.
Like, pay me $10 million and I'll be your pickle man? Like, what the fuck?
Well, okay, the costume and like scene direction in this movie is actually really great. Like especially the parts that are like in old timey.
He's literally the only actor in the movie, though.
Yeah, it's true. It's based on a short story as well, so it's like not even your idea of like, oh, I just have a weird ass idea, let's make this into a movie. Everything you said is wrong.
Well, fun. Dude, wait, who's like, hey, I wanna make the Pickle Man movie?
Seth Rogen is obviously, I want to make the Pickle Man movie. Who else would say I want to make the Pickle Man movie?
Do you think he wanted to, or they approached him like, we'll give you $10 million to do Pickle Man movie, and he's like, I will do.
Seth Rogen and Simon Rich, who is the producer of the film, began to discuss the idea for the film as early as 2007. So they've been brewing this.
That was a long motherfucking time ago.
Yeah, they've been brewing this.
You would suggest this movie since you're like. You are the Pickle Man.
I am the Pickle Man. For those who don't know, I have a history of eating pickles badly on stream. I'm literally behind me. There's a pickle in the background. I'm a fan of pickles. They're okay.
I don't like pickles at all.
What?
Whatsoever.
Well, then fuck you. Hope you die.
You didn't even say what out loud. I just saw you mouth it. But that's the Pickle movie, man.
It's called American Pickle. Un-American Pickle. Not un-American, like not patriotic. I'm talking A-N American Pickle. It's in the title. I don't have to explain this.
I like calling it the Pickle Man.
The Pickle Man. Honestly, that's a pretty good. Like, have you ever seen the Lawnmower Man?
I've seen the game, and I have no concept of any of it, so no.
This is like psychological horror, kind of like the Lawnmower Man, so pretty much the same.
Okay. Psychological. It's definitely a psychological thriller for the times.
So
what did this get on like Rotten Tomatoes?
75%.
Like good reviews.
5 out of 10 on IMDb though. I'm like, the thing is, I could see this getting a pretty high tomato meter score. I hate Rotten Tomatoes, by the way. I can see this getting a high tomato meter score because everyone's giving this a 3 out of 5. Like, this is barely passing as positive, but like
this is a 3 out of 5.
It's like it's a 6 out of 10. It's like it's more good than bad. I had some legitimate laughs. But like, this is no way a good movie.
I will never ever watch this movie ever again, ever. Not even with the presence of other people. If someone else is like, "Let's watch this movie," I will be like, "Could we watch something else?"
I'll say, "Oh, you could watch that on your own time," but I've already seen that, and I don't really feel like it. It was okay. You could watch it.
Yeah.
I will say, for anyone who has HBO Max, it's free on HBO Max. That's how they're releasing it. So
yeah, you might as well. It's free.
That's where I watch it. I have HBO Max. I'm a whore to HBO. It's how it works.
Well, that was something that was a 6 out of 10. Did we do something else this week that is possibly better than a 6 out of 10?
I'm not sure actually, but I mean, on the topic of movies, we watched Indie Game the movie, right? And we mentioned Super Meat Boy, Braid / The Witness. And there was another guy named Phil Fish, and he made a game called Fez. And I feel like this is kind of a saga of like this podcast. We've been talking so much like since The Witness about these people, and we're finally getting around to playing Fez. Which I feel like has been kind of alluded to for the past couple podcasts. Fez is a game, as I've said like 4 times already, by Phil Fish, prominently featured in Indie Game the movie, and was released probably after like the most controversial dev cycle of a indie game in recent memory. I think that this game is okay. There we go. I said it.
Actually, I loved it. Like
Did you beat it?
No, I have like 60% of it done.
I have 40 or like somewhere between 40 and 50% of it done. I think it says I have.
How do you have like 7 hours played?
What do you mean? Why do you ask that question when you know every single time I play a game I AFK for like?
Why do you AFK in every game?
Because I don't care about total play. Like I realistically have about 4 to 5 hours in this game. I think it says I have like 8.
Okay, I have like just about 2.
Really?
Yeah.
And you have 60% of the game?
Yeah.
I think I like spend too much time on. What? Really?
Yeah, you can go see my playtime, and I'm like 60.78. So I have some notes on this, which may seem relevant. I'm going to explain the game a little bit. You know, like I said, it's made by pretentious Canadian man, Phil Fish, whatever the fuck his name is. He wears a scarf. It seems like he made the entire game by himself. That alone is pretty...
3 people made this game. Phil Fish designed the graphics and the levels. The actual programmer for this game was the other guy featured in Indie Game the movie.
Okay.
And then the business partner that left the development early is the music designer. So he made all the levels. He made all the graphics.
So basically, you control a little man. I don't know what the fuck his name is. He's a little white snowman, you know, puffy looking boy. And what the game consists of is you are on a 2D plane. However, the entire map is kind of shaped like a cube, so you can rotate the map on an axis, and that will change the scenery around you to, I guess, change the map. It's incredibly difficult to explain without you seeing it yourself, but the game is essentially 4 games. Like, think of like a 2D map, but then there's like 4 of them, and they're all connected to one each other. Like, it's quite insane and a little bit disorienting to get used to.
Yeah, but the thing is, you do get used to it, and the gameplay actually becomes fluid. Yeah. But the way I would describe this, if you've ever seen, there's a Carl Sagan video on the shadow of a 4D shape. Basically, the way that, think about how a cube looks in real life. If you design that and you draw that on a 2D plane, you can draw a cube on a 2D plane, but you can't actually like represent the cube in its entirety. You see the shape, but you can't rotate it like a cube. You can't see the other side.
Yeah, like something on one plane might be jutting out, but then if you rotate it, it'll be coming towards you, so it looks, you know, maybe it looks only 2 wide, but then if you put it on a different plane, it looks like it's like 8 wide or something like that. So the mechanics of the game, like there might be a ladder on that when you turn to another plane, it looks vertical, but like on another plane, it's like several feet apart from each other, which makes for some interesting gameplay.
Yep, I mean, I actually, well, yep, it makes for some varied gameplay. I would honestly say it's not that interesting. I think that
I think it's pretty cool.
This game to me is a lot more substance, or it's a lot more style than substance. I personally, I appreciate. So first of all, I want to say, Phil Fish, to all the people who like gave him shit during the development, he made a game that is so fucking polished. Like this game looks so good. It sounds so good. It
sounds good.
Like, and it does what you're expecting it to do very well. Like, it's a concept executed masterfully. I just personally don't think that the gameplay is good enough to like really like. I'm not gonna ride home about it. I would probably call this game somewhere in the 7 to 8 out of 10 range, just because. Once you get past like this game is beautiful and this concept's really cool. I was just like I didn't really have that much of a reason to continue it. I kind of didn't feel motivation.
So let me ask you a question. You started to say it a little bit earlier. You said that you were trying to complete each zone before you moved on to the next one.
I play games in a completionist style, so I did. that is one of the
I
reasons.
do the same thing. However, this game is not to be played like that. This game is literally like you find a door, just go, see where it goes. Like that is this game. Like it is a labyrinth, a maze of maps, of doors, of you just go, 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 go. Like that's what made me enjoy it because I was doing the completionist shit. And I'm like, this is fucking boring. This is so overrated. But as soon as I threw that out the window, I enjoyed it so much.
I mean, I don't know. I spent the majority of the time just collecting the. So the way that this game works is there's like some rip in the space-time continuum, and you have to get these cubes, and you could either get full cubes or more commonly cube shards. 8 shards makes a cube, and then the more cubes you get, the more places you unlock. You basically go through doors to get to new parts of the level, and then you basically it's kind of like puzzle platforming where you solve each individual room and you get prizes for solving that room. And yeah, pretty much the way that you will be playing this game is just you see a door, you go through it, you get the cubes. There's probably another door, and it kind of leads back to like hubs, and then you go through a different door, and you go through what Dana correctly describes as a labyrinth of levels here. But I don't know, like the more I played this game, the more the rooms felt the same. I understand.
Well, I got pretty far, and things do get extremely varied, and the platforming does get difficult with like different platforms that are rotating, exploding, things coming at you. Like as you play through it, you get through different scenery zones and things that do vary up the gameplay.
I got to many different things. I got to platforms that disappear. I got to mushroom like things that you bounce on. I got to like I got to a lot of different stuff, and I don't know. I didn't feel super compelled to continue. I mean, I did for the podcast. I like tried to get as far as I could, but like,
well, let me ask you a question real quick. So it's like you say you like to do the completionist thing. So did you like find a door and be like, all right, I want to finish everything in the zone before I go through that door type thing? Or did you like go through the door and be like, no, okay, this just goes to the next part. Let me go back and finish that part. Or
if I was ever like slightly more motivated, I would go and try to like gold a room. So basically rooms on the map, they'll show as gold when you get everything in the room. I did that, but I realized for a lot of the secrets, did you get any of the secrets?
I got like 5 of them.
Okay, so for some of the secrets, I'm like, I don't really care enough to do this, so
they're like super esoteric,
yeah,
like unbelievably so.
Yeah, so I like for if I was slightly more motivated, I'd go through it, but like I was mainly just kind of like playing this and trying to just get all like the little cube shards in the room, not like any of like the secret stuff, and I don't know, just when I was playing the game, I was appreciating everything around the gameplay way more than the gameplay. Like, I was just like, wow, this is a beautiful game. Wow, I feel the scenery is pretty nice. Wow, this little Fez guy is kind of cute.
Well, I played the game in about 45-minute spurts because, like I said, I felt very much the same way. Like, oh, this is very pretty, but it's like the gameplay, I'm like, I can either take it or leave it. But like I said, as I was playing it more and more, I really started to enjoy once I threw out that, like, all right, I got to get everything. Got to get all the secrets, got to 100%, got to gold everything. And just go to the next area, get everything that's like surface level that I find pretty easily without having to go up and down and search every nook and cranny for like the one last shard or something like that, and just go on to the next zone. And I want to play it like right now. That's how much I enjoyed it. Grapefruit Boys. I mean, that's really all there is to say about Fez, to be honest. I enjoyed it. I want to continue it. Like I said, it's extremely short. Like, this game is probably 4 hours total.
This game is apparently 6 hours. I think I'm just getting preoccupied a little bit on some of the puzzles here. I will say, though, I'm probably never playing this again.
Like I said, how you're playing it, I feel like...
So I could acknowledge that this is a very well-made game, and I honestly think that, like, go Phil Fish for making this game. But at the same time, like, this game, it's just not for me. Not every game that is well-received is going to be...
Should I pause?
Accessible to everyone, and I'm willing to accept that.
Oh yeah, I didn't like Baba very much.
Yeah, and that's a very well accepted or well reviewed game. Like you probably have had people since, well, at least if not, you've had me at least say like, what, you didn't like Baba? Are you serious? Like, yeah, I'll have people like, what, you didn't really like Fez? It's okay. There's too many games, honestly. And
well, I'm gonna say you played it wrong.
Well, fuck you.
It just reminds me of when we were watching Indie Game the movie when what's his fuck?
What's his fuck?
John Bolt or whatever.
Jonathan Blow was
like
in like all the reviews.
He was like super pissed because like they're not playing the game right. Well, Sam, you're not playing this right. You're not supposed to completionist. You're supposed to have the whimsicality of
Then
a
why did
child,
he make the
exploring
game completionist
and looking
though?
for the secrets and appreciating the world? You're not supposed to be like, oh, I got to get 100% in every zone. Like,
well, he should have made 100% so hard. Fuck you, Phil
it
Fish.
is very hard. I liked it. I want to play it. I want to try to beat it.
All right. Any more thoughts on The Witness before, or not The Witness? Fez before we close this out? I was thinking Jonathan
the
Blow.
Shitness. No, that's it. I mean, there's really not much to say about it. I think it's a cool game. It's very stylized. I had fun. I'm in this cemetery zone that's like super fucking scary.
I'm slightly after like the 8 cube zone where like you go the area actually like hurts my eyes where it like flashes like bright every couple seconds. Like it's a nighttime zone.
You're in the like the outside town.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just past the 16 door.
I think I have something like 10 or 11, but like that I remember just like specifically going there. I'm like, ew, this hurts.
I think I'm at 22, and the next door I have to go to, it costs 32 to get through.
Yeah, I mean, that's the end of the game. There's only 32 there.
Really? Oh, okay.
I think one of my favorite things about this game, though, I love that like we're closing and I'm just like, one more thing. The death animation is like so sad.
You're just like, ah.
Yeah, you like plop on. It's like, yep. If I fell off a cliff, I would probably plop on the ground and die.
I like that there's no lives.
Oh yeah,
this game is very low stress.
Yeah, I think that lives are honestly a relic of the past, and we shouldn't have them in general now. I mean, even Mario doesn't have lives anymore. So
yeah, like this game, you just play through it. That's how I see it. It's like, just play through it.
Want to know stressful though? The sticky keys menu keep popping up for me. I'm like, shit, I'm trying to play this game. I had to like disable it.
I play every game with a controller, so it's like,
okay, yeah, because left shift is like the what is it, like dialogue
you
button?
just play every game with a controller.
I don't know. This game is like, it's pretty good on keyboard. I had no complaints about controls, except I for some reason I guess I just haven't dealt with sticky keys in so long that like I forgot to disable it. It's like, yeah, I enabled sticky keys like 5 times before I'm like, this is not gonna work.
Dude, just get a controller, sit
Fuck
back.
sticky keys, okay? How about that?
Some dinosaur chicken nuggets, and just bring yourself
It's not
back,
keyboard controls' fault.
Days.
It's Microsoft's fault.
That's what this game's about, to bring you back.
For fucking having sticky keys. We both had completely different coherent points there.
You got sticky keys for a different reason.
Yeah, I just pour syrup on them.
It's definitely syrupy.
I like, speaking of weirdly political, like the every single time I say like, oh, speaking of politics, like,
oh, speaking of,
yeah,
we gotta have this speaking of counter.
Yeah, honestly, just intervention on me here, I guess. But yeah, you probably love it when I'm like, oh, let's talk politics. But no, I will say I went down like a rabbit hole like on the whole Phil Fish controversy like after like the discussion from last week, and I've been watching a lot of Innuendo Studios, which makes like a lot of videos on like political movements and like Gamergate and stuff like that, and like, yeah,
I didn't look into it, but will I ask, was it justified?
No, not at all.
Yeah, I assumed. Like, he's just the guy who makes games, and everyone was just, like, attacked him for no reason.
Well, it wasn't for no reason. The thing about Phil Fish is that, like, he was one of the few people that, like, got really into the weeds, and, like, if someone said fuck you to them, he would say, like, fuck you back, and, like, as a public figure, you're not supposed to stoop down to their level, but, like, people are already on, like, this shitty level, like, that doesn't excuse them, but...
Well, what people don't realize, these guys they're just, like, normal people, like you or me at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think what happened was, or the point they were trying to make is, like, Phil Fish was treated as, like, this famous guy, but in reality, like, he's, like, if you ask a random person who Phil Fish is, they'll have absolutely no idea who you're talking about, like...
it's like you asking that exchange student who Hideki.
Yeah, exactly. Like this game
like
sold multiple millions of copies, but for every 2 million divided by 7 billion is a very small number.
Yeah, ask a random person in India, they're gonna have no idea.
Yeah, exactly. So Phil Fish was hated because he looked like a hipster, lashed out on the internet. There was a perception he didn't make anything. He was just kind of like trying to put cogs in the wheel because Fez was such a long development process. People forget, though, he made 2 other games before Fez. It wasn't like he was this random guy, won an award through nepotism. Like, first of all, if you look at Fez and say that game, it didn't take a lot of effort, like, no, this is an extremely good product, but...
Like, extremely ambitious, like, as far as, like, take away the gameplay, just, like, everything else behind it is, like, fantastical. Like, the physics alone are out of this world.
When you look at all the games in Indie Game the Movie, they probably took the biggest risk because
Absolutely.
the directors probably took the biggest risk here because the other games were released before the movie was released. Super Meat Boy and Braid both were reviewed and both were extreme critical successes. So they could have said, oh, look, these are awesome developers. But Fez never came out. Well, this at least when they were making the movie, Fez never
Not
came
until
out.
like 2 or 3 years later.
I
Right?
think it was about 6 months later. But at the same time, like the other games were at least like they came out and like they were good. They didn't know if Fez like really even deserved the praise it got, like in the like praise being like a slot in Indie Game the Movie, but it gave it when it came out, like this game obviously deserved to be held to a candle of games like Super Meat Boy and Braid. So yeah.
Well, I think that made the movie better though, because they took something that everyone didn't know was going to be good and followed the story of something of what it could be, you know? Which I really enjoyed that movie, man.
Yeah, it was a good documentary. I think that everyone who hated on Phil Fish
pretentious
because he didn't make a product looks like an idiot. I mean, they are probably already idiots because they're just like mad at game developers on Twitter. Like fuck.
I didn't get my video games. Like
Yeah, they should be creating things other than tearing people down. Just like the people who I've been going a lot of like random fan wikis lately. And just like I linked you a bunch, but I didn't know if you saw it. Like people are making weird ass wiki articles. Like it
was like with like Drake on like
Ice Age wiki. So apparently Drake, like the rapper, plays a character in like one of the Ice Age movies, and like because they got to be thorough on the Ice Age wiki, they have a page on Drake the rapper. It's like, oh yeah, Drake the rapper plays this one character in Ice Age. It's like a highly detailed article on like. Drake the rapper was born in Toronto. He plays the sloth character or something like that. It's like, why does these things exist? Like there's like so many random like the thing about Wikipedia and wikis in general is that they skew really video game anime heavy, really a lot of nerd interests. And like you look at like an important like amphibian creature for like evolution, like something that like
I just assume everyone who writes this shit is like fetishizing that specific character, and that's the only reason why they like hyper like analyze and post shit about it.
So I'm a regular Wikipedia editor, and so I know the wiki demographic makeup, and it's like pretty much the basement dweller nerd. The gender divide on Wikipedia is something like 90-10, like 90% male, and there it's like also people interested in nerd culture. So like you'll see like an article for like, let's say, Neon Genesis Evangelion. Like each episode of Neon Genesis Evangelion will have like the most highly detailed article of all time, like sourced beautifully. Like this article will last for thousands of years and people will be able to understand what's going on here. And then like you'll go to like some like random biology article on like a stepping stone in the evolutionary process of humans.
It's like two sentences.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like, oh, I could list every single Bionicle movie in high detail, or I could like maybe contribute to mankind's.
Counter that point, what I feel is that a lot of the people who do these edits, since they're not actually creating anything, they have the time and really nothing else going on in their lives to do these things, versus like the people that do create things don't exactly have people that have the time to make these thorough Wikipedia articles on, you know, like the genitalia of like amphibians or something like that.
I mean that's fair, but like honestly, I know a lot of people in academia, and they actually I know a bunch of them that actually spend time and contribute to Wikipedia. I feel like especially those in the research field feel the need to contribute.
Oh, because you have so many friends in the research field?
Yeah, I went to graduate school and stuff like that. And
well, aren't you special? Do you know what I went to? I went to the school of the streets.
You went to the corner and you sold meth to...
I got street smarts.
Like Gucci Mane. He has a song called Street Smart.
You ever just feel like crying mid-podcast?
Why? Because I tried to quote Gucci Mane and it was really bad.
Anyways,
I'm crying because an arcade that I really liked growing up in Chicago is closing, and I'm not talking about like the shitty arcade down the street. They opened like One of the first.
Growing up, you were like 20 when it started.
Yeah, honestly, it was like opened in like
growing
2014.
up back in the day when I was 20.
Yeah, it like opened while I was already away from Chicago at college. Like I would come back for the summer and be like, oh shit, let's get shit faced at the new Round One location. I feel like one of the first Round One locations in the U.S. was Stratford Square Mall in the Chicagoland
and is
area.
Unfortunately closing down.
Yeah, it's closing down. For those who may not be able to tell, coronavirus is not really good for the arcade scene. Turns out little kids slobbering all over machines is a good way to transmit disease. Not only that, it was already probably one of the worst performing Round 1 arcades in the U.S. before then. For those who don't know what a Round 1 arcade is, Round 1 is the largest arcade company in Japan. So you got these dope-ass Japanese arcades trying to expand into the U.S. market. They're not just arcades. They got bars, they got karaoke, they got bowling alleys, they got darts,
they're fantastic facilities.
They got virtual homework podcast on the free commercial, despite the fact that
they definitely do not.
No, I totally
But
just
they
had a
should.
commercial. I didn't mean to, but that was nothing but praise. They got bad arcade techs who don't really know what they're doing.
Well, I think that's the biggest problem is like you see it a lot with Japanese like games and movies and stuff like that, is that the Japanese the people in Japan are so disconnected from the American audiences that everything just gets run right into the fucking ground.
Yeah, I feel like it's not necessarily like I don't know.
These
I don't
stores
know
are
if this is
managed
better in
so
Japan.
terribly.
I don't know if it's better in Japan, but I feel like the people who are arcade techs in the U.S. have no idea what they're doing. Like they don't get any training. It's just like whatever.
First, I feel like maybe in Japan there's like a pride behind like doing it on their own, but like in America they're like, fuck it, they're not telling me how to do it.
I mean, I'm gonna be sad to see it go, but at the same time, I'm not going to an arcade until like 2022.
Yeah, like I'm definitely not going out in public like that. Like I have friends like, hey, we should go out to dinner. I'm like, hey, we should not.
Yeah, let's not. I mean, like it kind of sucks because the arcade business has just been pummeled into the ground. Like they were actually on there was a kind of a revival with the concept of the barcade. Like I would go to like a lot of places with like retro games. And yeah, the games were not super well maintained. That's not the point. It's just like a fun.
But that's fine. They were cheap.
Yeah,
and they were fun.
They were cheap, and yeah, it's like I personally am not the type to ever go to a bar. I feel like I could just go to someone's house and we could get a few beers and have a fun time versus like overpaying for drinks. But if you throw in some arcade games, it makes it more fun.
I like doing the brewery thing. We get some food or something.
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. Breweries are a little different than just like a bar, but like yeah, it's about having like the drinking plus something.
Yeah, not just only drinking.
Yeah, I've honestly never just like gone to a bar. Maybe I'm the weird guy.
I've never have. Well, I went there for my 21st and it was super awkward because everyone that I went with was like 30 and I was 21.
My first drink at like a restaurant, it was like a day before my 21st birthday. I'm like, oh, I turned 21 at midnight. They're like, oh, do you want a shot of it was Slivovitz, which is like a shout out to that Croatian guy who ran a Vietnamese restaurant, giving me Slivovitz. Pretty dope, dude. I love all these speaking of shout outs, but speaking of the shout outs, GDQ, for those who are coming from they're like, oh, you want to plug anything? I was recently on GDQ and I was like, oh yeah, virtual homework podcast. I'm sorry.
Humblebrag.
I'm not sorry that I was on GDQ. I'm sorry to all the people who started listening after I said I have a podcast on GDQ because
dude, it was a sick plug. You're like, by the way, if you don't listen to my podcast, I will come to each and every one of your houses.
Yeah, I threatened people on the GDQ stage. It was I'm now banned on every single platform, rightfully, because people. That's totally not okay. No, okay. So for those who don't know, but by the time you listen, I guess yeah, when you listen to this, I will already have done my run. I have a Warpless D4 race that's Lost Levels on Friday the 21st. I don't know why I'm saying this. This is coming out the 23rd. Or 24th, I don't know. Sometime after that.
So I'm gonna stop you. You're like, I have a Warpless D4 race. First off, what is GDQ? What do you do? Like, you gotta start from the very beginning. Because what if someone that doesn't know anything about video games? What if like my mom listens to this podcast? She's like, I don't know what any of this is.
Well, then she's probably gonna be ashamed of you for multiple reasons other than not knowing what GDQ is.
She's like, you talked about pickles for a half
hour. We have, as a society, a love for video games.
We do.
However, retro games have an issue of being very short. So what do people do to try to make games longer? They try to race themselves, kind of like a ghost in a racing game. We call this speed running. You're trying to either beat the game in certain restrictions, either no restrictions, that's any percent. You have 100%. Dana's laughing at me because this is the most long-winded explanation for speedrunning of all time. He's like, just fucking hurry it up, dude. But anyway.
No, it's great.
One of the ways to get longevity out of retro games, you could also do this with modern games. In fact, this is done a lot with modern games, is you could basically race yourself, try to beat the game as fast as possible. This is generally called speedrunning. It depends on the community. But I am a speedrunner. There we go. That's what it is. We're going from the beginning here because Dana made me. One of the games I like to speedrun, Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels. There's a category called Warpless D4, where you basically beat every single level in the game without taking any of the warps that are very common in Mario games. It's generally done in 36 to 40 minutes. I personally have a 36-minute, 44-second time. I have done over 1,000 hours of this because I like Lost Levels more than most people.
I think it's very, very impressive to watch. If anybody's never really seen a speed run, I think it's a really cool run to see because the platforming is frankly quite insane. It's very entertaining to watch.
So yeah, I personally like the run. I'm proud of my time, but as part of the speedrunning community, I'm pretty big in the speedrunning community. That's not what I meant. I am like
humble brag.
I'm deep into the speedrunning community. Like I spend a lot of time speedrunning, and I talk to a lot of speedrunners.
You're inserted into the speedrunning.
Yes, that's what I meant to say. One of the things that is really prominent in the speedrunning community is an organization called Games Done Quick. They run 2 weekly events every year. Awesome Games Done Quick and Summer Games Done Quick. Each of these events generally gets in the 6-figure range for viewership. This year, I submitted and was accepted to run as part of the marathon. These marathons are for charity. A Warpless D4 race between me and 3 other people, GTA's Cosmic and Supersonic. And as part of this, we got another ability to showcase us as GDQ runners as like a mini event ran by the GDQ channel. Which had like
so they're doing an actual GDQ thing though.
Yeah, we're doing an actual GDQ thing, which will have already passed by the time this comes out because of our release schedule. But we also just had a GDQ hotfix is what they call it, where we got to showcase ourselves as runners. As part of this, at the end of my runs, they're like, "Oh, hey, do you have where can we watch you?" And I mentioned the Virtual Homework Podcast. So if anyone is listening because of GDQ. Feel free to shout us out. Feel free to comment, like us.
Smoke signals in their backyard.
Yeah, smoke signals. Comment. Be like, you told me to listen to this, and I'm massively disappointed. A lot of different stuff.
Tweet at Sphinctus and say how much you hate me.
Yeah, just be like, your name is kind of inappropriate, and
is that even my ad on Twitter? I bet it's not.
I think it's Sphinctus with like 2 S's or something.
We're gonna find out.
It's fine.
It is just Sphinctus. That's so baller.
Yeah, he's a baller.
Shot caller.
Well, really, he's the other end because the balls are on the front and the Sphinctus is.
Next topic.
I don't have any other topics.
Dude, like we were talking about seltzer water earlier. There's a seltzer water I really like called the Ha. I can't find it anywhere.
Well,
literally,
there's actual soda shortages, right? Not Barks Root Beer. Dr. Pepper came out and said, yeah, there's a Dr. Pepper shortage because of coronavirus.
I literally went to McDonald's and they didn't have it.
Yeah, the Dr. Pepper cannot release enough Dr. Pepper.
Dude, I went to Menards today. They didn't have paper towels, like, at all. Like, we were, like, talking to this woman. They're like, oh, where are the paper towels? Like, oh, let's go find them. And then right in front of me, she took both packages of them and didn't let me have one. Like, after I was talking, how we were both talking, how we both...
Did you ask, or were you, like, too timid?
She's, like, grabbed them and, like, sped off. I was just like, what?
You should have, like, chased after her, like, Terminator T2 style, you know? Just, like...
Nah, I'm fucking non-confrontational.
He is a weak-ass beta male, as certain circles in the internet call.
Weak-ass baby.
Yeah, pretty much. He's a slug boy.
Slug boy.
I mean, I'm not a Dr. Pepper fan, but if I start seeing that like seltzer is hard to get, I will be really sad. I
really don't drink much soda, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't. I actually haven't had a Dr. Pepper in years. Now that I think about it, but I know people are like legitimately upset about it.
I actually prefer Mr. Pibb.
Yeah, I guess I like Mr. Pibb better than Dr. So the best soda I think that exists is actually Dr. Wells, which is a.
What the fuck is
well,
that?
okay. Have you like seen like the generic Dr. like Like
Yeah, like Dr. Thunder.
no,
Dr.
but have you seen like
Bold.
the image on the internet of like all the different doctors? Like there's like
Yeah,
thousands
yeah.
of them. But Dr. Wells is actually it's I wouldn't call it like a store brand. I don't know if you know Dad's Old Fashioned Root Beer.
Yes, Dad's is my favorite kind of.
Yeah, it's an extremely good company. I think they're based out of the Midwest. They actually are pretty regional.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people haven't been able to find them. But Dad's Root Beer has more than Dad's Root Beer. They have cream soda. They have red and blue. They're really really sugary. Honestly, like they're I loved them as a kid, but I can't even handle them anymore.
No, I
But
can't.
they have a Sprite knockoff called Bubble Up, which is really good, and they have a Dr. Pepper knockoff called Dr. Wells. Dr. Wells is legitimately extremely good.
I'll have to try it.
Ma-
I try not to drink soda because it's like if I'm at like McDonald's because I eat way too much McDonald's, I'll get like a Sprite or something like that. Every once in a while, maybe once a month or every other month, get a little Dr. Pep in me,
No.
Well then. Well, that just ruined everything.
Hey guys, so if you liked the episode, make sure to follow Virtual Homework Podcast wherever you get your podcasts, and rate it 5 stars if you can.
Or if you hate it, do 5 stars anyway, or I will find you.
If you rate it less than 5 stars, Dan will be bound and gagged on a train track.
Wait, what?